The sun rose over the verdant hills of Kajiso, casting a golden glow on the village below. Today was a day of joy and celebration, for Ayanda, the village's beloved daughter, was to wed Thabo, a man of integrity and kindness. The air buzzed with excitement as the villagers prepared for the grand ceremony, a union that promised to be the event of the decade. Ayanda's family hut was a hive of activity. Women bustled about, arranging flowers and laying out the intricate beadwork that adorned Ayanda's bridal attire. Ayanda sat in front of a large mirror, her face radiant with happiness. Her best friend, Naledi, helped her get ready, carefully braiding her hair and applying delicate touches of makeup. "You look beautiful," Ayanda Naledi said, her voice tinged with a subtle sadness that Ayanda did not notice. "Thank you, Naledi." "I can't believe this day is finally here," Ayanda replied, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Naledi harbored a dark secret. She had loved Thabo long before he had ever noticed Ayanda. The realization that her dearest friend was marrying the man she secretly desired had planted a seed of jealousy that festered over time. The night before, Naledi had made a decision that would change everything. As the preparations continued, Naledi excused herself, claiming she needed a moment of solitude. She stepped outside and reached into the folds of her dress, pulling out a small vial filled with a colorless liquid. Her hands trembled as she stared at it, the weight of her actions pressing heavily on her conscience. But her jealousy had grown into a monster she could no longer control. When Naledi returned, she found Ayanda laughing and chatting with the other bridesmaids. She took a deep breath and approached her friend with a serene smile. "Ayanda, here, drink this. It's a special herbal tea to calm your nerves," Naledi said, handing her a cup. Ayanda took the cup, trusting her friend implicitly. Just as she was about to drink, a gust of wind blew through the hut, knocking over a vase and startling everyone. In the commotion, Ayanda set the cup down, and the moment passed. The time for the ceremony drew near, and the village gathered under the ancient baobab tree, adorned with vibrant fabrics and flowers. Ayanda, resplendent in her wedding attire, walked down the aisle towards Thabo, who stood waiting with a beaming smile. As the elders began the traditional chants, a sense of peace and joy enveloped the gathering. But just as Ayanda reached Thabo and took his hand, a wave of dizziness hit her. Her vision blurred, and she swayed on her feet. Thabo caught her as she collapsed, his face etched with fear. "Ayanda, what's wrong?" he cried. The village healer, a wise old woman named Mama Zadwa, rushed forward. She examined Ayanda quickly, her experienced eyes detecting the signs of poisoning. "She's been poisoned," Mama Zadwa declared, her voice firm. "We must act fast." The villagers gasped in shock, their joyous celebration turning into a scene of panic. Mama Zadwa's assistants carried Ayanda to the healer's hut, where she began preparing an antidote. Thabo stayed by Ayanda's side, his heart breaking at the sight of his beloved in pain. Meanwhile, Naledi stood in the shadows, her heart pounding with guilt and fear. She watched as Mama Zadwa worked tirelessly to save Ayanda. Unable to bear the weight of her actions any longer, she stepped forward. "It was me," she confessed, her voice shaking. "I poisoned Ayanda. Please, save her." Mama Zadwa looked at Naledi with a mixture of anger and pity but focused on saving Ayanda. With Naledi's confession, she knew exactly what antidote to prepare. She worked swiftly, administering the cure to Ayanda, who lay motionless on the mat. Hours passed, each one feeling like an eternity. The village waited in tense silence, praying for Ayanda's recovery. Finally, Ayanda's breathing steadied, and her eyes fluttered open. A collective sigh of relief swept through the crowd as news spread that she would survive. Thabo, tears streaming down his face, held Ayanda's hand tightly. "You're going to be okay, my love," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. Naledi, consumed by remorse, couldn't face Ayanda or Thabo. She fled the village, her heart heavy with the knowledge that she had almost destroyed the lives of those she cared about most. As the sun set on what was supposed to be their wedding day, Ayanda and Thabo sat together under the baobab tree, grateful for their second chance. The betrayal had left a scar, but their love had emerged stronger, forged in the crucible of adversity. The village of Kajiso, too, learned a profound lesson about the dangers of jealousy and the power of forgiveness. And though the day had been marred by shadows, the love between Ayanda and Thabo shone brighter than ever, a beacon of hope and resilience for all to see.